Wilbur looked around him. All that could be seen was the crowd staring back at him, clearly unimpressed. It was as if they were certain he was destined to die. His gaze then landed on John. That was a pretty decent aura blow. I suppose it's a little impressive. Gerard stood up at once, pointing at Wilbur. How cocky! You're saying that an aura blow is only a little impressive? And what level would you happen to be at? Me? Wilbur shook his head. I'm not too sure about that myself. Matt spoke up then. That's quite a boast you just made. John, don't waste your time. Send him straight to hell. John smirked, slowly walking towards Wilbur. Wilbur frowned. John, don't ruin your future like this. You're out of your mind, John retorted angrily, and everyone else flared up in anger as well. It was clear that Wilbur had no respect for the three clans at all, daring to say something like that in such a dire situation. All at once, the air was filled with various curses thrown toward Wilbur. John stood right in front of Wilbur and spoke in a low voice. I'm sure you've got a trick or two up your sleeve, seeing as you were able to kill Lightning Hank. Come on now, show me what you've got. I'm afraid you might not have the chance to attack that from me, though, Wilbur replied calmly. John burst out laughing at the words before shouting, Young man! No one in all of Town and even the Carden province has dared to speak to me like that before. Well, someone's doing that now. Wilbur's expression did not budge. John could not take it any longer. He cried out, Go to hell, you rude bastard! John launched a blow as he shouted. His attack let out a sound like whipping wind and thunder barreling in Wilbur's direction. From John's aura blow earlier, it was clear to see just how powerful that blow was. No one believed that Wilbur would be able to take it. Everyone was certain that he would be dead in the next second. Wilbur sighed as the attack got closer and closer to him. He lifted a finger at the very last second, tapping at the air in front of him. Wilbur's tap seemed devoid of any strength or power, landing softly on John's attack. However, the powerful attack that John had launched seemed to be stopped just like that, unable to move another inch. John was aghast, and so were the three clans. No one knew what had just happened. Just then, an impossibly strong force burst out of Wilbur's finger before making a beeline for John through the punch he just threw. John let out a loud howl, spitting out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying by the enormous force. The crowd cried in shock. Jeremy's expression changed as well. He rushed to his son, trying to catch him. This caused him to be sent stumbling backward a few steps from Wilbur's blow as well, before he was able to find his balance. John's face was pale, and it seemed like he had fallen unconscious. Jeremy was enraged, glowering at Wilbur as he roared, How dare you hurt my son? The Lilith and Torrent clan exchanged glances as well, not daring to say a word. John's failed attack was a great humiliation to the Owens family. There was no way Jeremy was going to let this slide, yet all Wilbur said was, What? Was he supposed to be the only person allowed to attack? How funny. Just then, Ian ran over. Jeremy handed John to him before walking toward Wilbur, then said, Well, I'd like to see just what you're capable of. The crowd took several steps back at the sight of Jeremy entering the battle himself, making space for him. Jeremy could also sense that Wilbur was no ordinary fighter and was preparing for a big fight. Jeremy's body began to glow with his aura as he walked toward Wilbur. An invincible pressure began emanating from his body.